Hello everybody and welcome back to the ISR AIC. It has been a month break and that's why we sound a little bit rusty, of course. We're here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria, Spielberg, to go racing here for round 3 of the AIC Championship. Last time out it was Joshua Robert Wood taking his first ever victory at the amazing circuit di Curitiba, and the man who commentated with me there is here with me now. Welcome along, Zach. It's good to be back.
It is good to be back here in the booth with you, Toby. What a fantastic track to be here today for the DTM series. It's the Red Bull Ring in the Austria, and what can I say? It's a very fast-paced circuit. You know, Formula 1 races here that do about under a minute laps, so it'll be interesting to see how fast we can be able to go through with the DTM cars here. But yeah, it was a fantastic race last time out in Curitiba. We had Joshua Robert Wood finally getting his first well-deserved victory here after being handed the short end of the stick so many times, Toby. But it was a fantastic week for him right there. So yeah, should be pretty interesting to see what goes on today here in Austria.
Of course, we saw earlier this month Josh Martin took us on an onboard lap of the circuit, and we'll see how that helped him in qualifying. So taking his first ever pole position is Douglas Anderson for AIT. Will be starting on pole position. He's ahead of Josh Martin. We did mention that he did the onboard lap. That's obviously helped him and has got him P2 starting on the first row. Third is championship contender Craig Evans, and all NLR row 2 as his teammate Nickel Foggy is behind him. Fifth is a great result for Charles McBee given GTFG's recent misfortunes. He's ahead of Ryan Ismail-Guedes, who is forever improving. Ross McFarlane comes up next for Pros Race UK, and he just out-qualifies Gareth Lennon for Ironbury Racing in 8th.
Danny Diaz for EQU starts out 9th, and behind him Toby Byrne in 10th, Evan Inray 11th, and Stephen Paul in 12th. Valerian Campagnaro for the NRL team is looking for a 13th grid position, hopefully to improve. And a reigning champion, Nut Martinson, in the mid to back row. If he wants any hopes to try to regain his points deal for his remaining championship hopes, he's got some work cut out for him. Colin Spencer, one of our other championship contenders here for the Lucky Strike JSR, starts out 15th, and Zach Slater for the Autobox team starts out
17th. Sees Chester Jackson from Team EQU out-qualified Joshua Wood, last time's winner, poor performance for the Lucky Strike JSR boys. He's ahead of Colin McAllister in 19th, still struggling to get to grips with his cars, ahead of Kevin Jacobs, who had a huge penalty last time out. He's ahead of Christopher Petterson, bad weekend for him, and Jonathan Carrera failing to set the time and starting dead last on the grid. So that's our grid, Zach. Who are the ones to look out for?
Obviously, I think the big shock right now is Douglas Anderson right now. You know, I think he was pretty excited after qualifying to know that he got pole. This is, not his best, well, I would say this is actually his best result, even though the last time we've seen him, remember, Toby, last time we've seen him up in the front, he had a bit of an issue at the start. So we'll have to see if anything, if he's learned from his mistakes, Toby, we'll have to see. But another big story is, unfortunately, this kind of ends the reign for Mr. Consistency at the moment, and that's our last week winner, Joshua Robert Wood. It's not, we haven't seen him in the mid to back grid, so we'll have to see how he can be able to go up to the field and try to regain those spots, Toby. It was a very interesting qualifying for him.
Yeah, another one is Jonathan Guerrero, another consistent driver who's starting all the way at the back of the grid, being a rookie. That can be a little demoralising. So hopefully it will be the first test for Jonathan to see how much he can overcome that. So hopefully he has a good race out there. But speaking of races, Zach, it is time to go and find out what happens in Spielberg. So here we are, Zach, at the Red Bull Ring in Austria for round 3 of the ISR AIC Championship. It's been a long time coming, and the cars are getting ready on the grid as we speak. We are looking at around the circuit that will be challenging our drivers on this race day, and it is Douglas Anderson on pole position in that bright orange machine from Josh Martin. So an all-Scottish front row, an all-Scottish top 4, Zach, saying that. So the Scots really enjoying this circuit. I know this is one of Josh Martin's personal favourite circuits, but we'll have to see what goes on into turn 1. And we're getting ready for the lights to come on. As soon as the lights come on, you will hear those engines start revving. There they are. You can hear the engines building up now. Any minute now, we will go racing with this man, Douglas Anderson. And it's lights out and away we go. It looks like a pretty decent start, but Josh Martin also got a pretty decent start. They're going to be running up side by side into turn 1, I am sure. And will Josh Martin steal that pole position from Douglas Anderson straight away? No, he will not, but Craig Evans will try to get a piece of the action and get the position off. Craig Evans did not work at all. Nickel Foggy is now going to challenge his teammate Rhinus Melngalis, trying to make a very early move on Charles McBee and get ahead of him. I think he's got the job done. Great effort from Rhinus Melngalis on this first lap. Ross McFarlane looking in the background to get a bit involved as well. Looks like we're all going to be clean. Nickel Foggy trying to make a move on his teammate side by side. Nickel Foggy squeezes Craig Evans off to the side. Nickel Foggy is temporarily through into third position. I'm sure Craig won't be very happy about that. That was a bit over ambitious for teams. But hey mate, come on, that's a bit silly, but away is everyone's away, and it looks like Ross McFarlane got past Rhinus Melngalis there. We're looking at our champion. No, we're not. We're looking at Evan Imre, his teammate, the champion's teammate, getting past Charles McBee as he's dropped down the field quite significantly. But Nickel Foggy very aggressive on his teammate on the opening first lap, Zach. And
yeah, definitely was. Oh, and kind of look at one of the there's Toby Byrne. Oh, big! I believe that's Colin Spencer. A bit of a former teammate action right there, as we saw. I don't know what exactly happened right there, but it must have been some either contact with big crash, and that right there is Zach Swader for the EQU bunch. A bit of a chaos going on in the mid to back field there, Toby. I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but something must have happened with Toby Byrne. And there's some more contact right now. So honestly, there's some tempers are flaring right now as we see both the Lucky Strike teams right there. Colin McAllister right now is a bit aggressive right now. It's not like he put a little bit of a punch right there to Colin Spencer right now. And there we go, incident involving Zach Swader and Colin Spencer under investigation for unsafe track rejoin. So bit of a shenanigans going on in the backfield as we kind of try to calm down a little bit right there. That was a very interesting deal right there. But yeah, definitely something going on with the NL teams. I know the Craig Evans is not going to be happy as you see these cars hitting these curves. These cars are bouncing all over the place trying to hit these curves and get the corners right, but obviously that may be affecting kind of what happened in the back there as we see cars going off the track there, Toby.
Yeah, it was a very bumpy turn 1, a very aggressive turn 1, and a very aggressive lap 1 as a whole to follow. But we're looking at Josh Martin, who returned. Here's a replay of that with Cam Spencer. So he gets cut off by Byrne rejoining the track, which allows Kevin Jacobs to go through, and then you can just see Zach Swader on the right. Oh. Ooh. You kind of feel Zach Swader had a bit more time to react than he made it look, but not a great start for Callum Spencer there.
Yeah, it really wasn't. I'm actually surprised that the stewards hadn't said anything. At least I'm not sure if that was enough for Toby Byrne to either get a unsafe rejoin, unless he just got a little bit tail happy, and that was just a bit of a late recovery that we were coming up to. I'm not sure exactly how the stewards would play that up, but we're looking at right now as the sister, actually our top 4 is the Scottish bunch right now, and it seems to be that Douglas Anderson is kind of happy at this point because right now he's on the way of trying to get his win. As we take a look now, Rhinus Melngalis trying to make the overtake right there and is going to get the job done. We've actually talked about the top speeds of these cars here, and as we take a right now, a 10-second penalty for Zach Swader. So obviously you are right, Kobe. He had a bit more time to be a bit more patient. We had that incident last time out in Curitiba, so obviously he's been trying to try his luck out, but obviously the stewards are like, nah mate, we're not going to give you that much of a cushion as far as that goes. But yeah, very, very interesting stuff right now as we see. I believe this is we're looking at Gareth Lennon, right, it's a bit of a rusty here, but we're looking at Toby Byrne obviously trying to make the recovery going on right here, going through the field. We see Jonathan Carrero, Zach Swader bit throughout as we see some of the NRL cars, actually, teammates right here. That is Larry Cavagnari and Christopher Pedersen right now. Another interesting story, we were actually talking about how NRL are actually trying to make some improvements. You see some contact between, I believe this is Christopher Pedersen, and spins out Jonathan Carrero. I'm not sure what happened there. I guess there was just a bit of a speed boost going as Christopher got a better run on Carrero or something, or Carrero was just going a bit too slow. But wow, Toby, seems to be a lot of bumping. It's more turning into British touring cars than the German touring cars.
Yeah, it's very aggressive. Everyone getting the elbows out, and obviously Christopher Pedersen and Jonathan Carrera have come together there. So the stewards, I'm sure, will take a look at that one. And there you go. They're going to take a look at that one. It's under investigation for causing a collision. Zach Swader is looking to make a move on his teammate. Is he going to get it done up the inside? Contact between the two, and Zach Sweder can't slow down, and he's T-boned Callum Spencer and sent him around. Oh dear, what a nightmare for Spencer and Sweder, you could say respectively, but that's the second time that Spencer has been on the receiving end of Zach Sweder, and I'm sure he'll be seething in that helmet at the American, and I'm sure we'll probably get a replay of that as well when we get one of Christopher Pettersson. But very aggressive stuff going on. The EQU cars, are they going to make it through cleanly, or they're going to ram one another off? We'll find out. It looks like that's gone away. Zach Sweder's back on the gravel again, and now Sweder is under investigation, Zach, for a second time for causing a collision, and he's got the man who he hit right behind him.
Yeah, and you also saw right before we got to the replay, he almost did it a third time, so I don't know what's going on with Zach Sweder, but I believe this is the Jonathan Carrero and Christopher Pettersson incident. Right there, you saw Carrero thought he was clear, I guess, or just trying to be a little bit more defensive, aggressively trying to make sure he kept that position he took from Pettersson, but obviously he just misjudged it. If we take a look at our super slow-mo cam, this is actually the first time we've actually seen this, so great job for the editing department for this one. And as you can see, I believe, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think there could have been a bit more respect out of Carrero for that one, because I think he just made the move a bit too soon. Got a bit over-ambitious trying to make the position up on Pettersson right there, so there you go. And that just made him out, cost him a lot more than it did Pettersson. So bit of more over-anxious from the EQU guys. So we've got both Sweder and Carrero having a bit of an issue right here. And I believe this is the second incident between Sweder and Spencer, coming up to the slower second corner. And wow, I'm not sure if I can be able to let Sweder off with that one. That is just pure, goes by his teammate and just literally just T-bones Spencer out of the way. And if it was me, if I was in the stewards, I would literally be disqualifying Sweder after that one, because that is just pure unsportsmanlike issue right there.
It looked like he tried to outbrake his teammate and actually hit his teammate in doing that, and I don't know what, it suddenly obviously caused him to be unable to slow down for whatever reason. So after contact was made with his teammate, that's when it all hit the fan. But we're looking at a battle between Charles McBee, and look how much he's squeezing the NORL car to the grass. That's Valerio Campagnari. Valerio keeps his foot in it, going to go down the inside, I'm sure, and take the apex. He hits the apex pretty hard, but it looks like he's got the job done. Great move for Valerio Campagnari. He was really squeezed onto the grass and follows Kevin Jacobs through. And we got a 5-second time penalty awarded to Pettersson. So obviously they feel Pettersson could have done more to avoid spinning Carrero out after the move was done. It's not an overly aggressive penalty, but it's a penalty nonetheless. But bad start for Charles McBee, considering how hard he qualified. We've got another penalty, another 5-second time penalty for Zach Sweder, so that brings him to 15 so far. So a nightmare for Zach at the moment. He's had a bit of a rough start, under a bit of pressure, and that's caused some mistakes to happen. Of course, we just saw an ISR car very close to another car. And Douglas Anderson still leads, but he's bringing the three Scots behind him, and I believe that's Craig back in third. So Craig has somewhere made a move back on his teammate Nickel and has got his position back. Oh, what a slide for Douglas Anderson.
Yeah, definitely took the curb just a bit too much there, and it kind of upset the car. But I'm not sure if I agree with the penalty for Pettersson. I think that was just a bit of an ambitious block a bit on Carrero's part, because I don't think there was much Pettersson could have done personally. But then again, though, we're not in the driver's seat today, Toby, and we're not in the steward's booth. We're up here commentating, so it's not our call and our decisions respectively. So honestly, the steward's seen something that I guess we didn't, but honestly, if it was my opinion personally, I just don't agree with it. But as we can take a look now, Douglas Anderson, I think that slide kind of cost him a little bit, Toby. As we can see, that car, he's going to come a bit under pressure right here from Josh Martin. So honestly, Josh is going to be putting the Douglas under pressure here. So we've got 4 Scotsmen and these 2 right now. Dougie's actually had some, we're not used to seeing him up in the front. So it's going to be interesting to see how he can be able to deal with the pressure from Josh Martin, as we see Craig Evans right behind Josh Martin. And of course, I believe that's Josh Martin's teammate behind him. And then I believe back behind there, I'm not sure who that was. I think that was Gareth Lennon, I believe, in the back here for the Iron Brew car. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how well Douglas can actually keep Josh Martin behind him, Toby.
Yeah, Josh Martin's got a lot more experience, you'd say, than Douglas Anderson. He's a professional sim racing driver, heavily affiliated and sponsored by Thrustmaster, as you can probably see by all the plugging all over that car. Everywhere you look, you see the words Thrustmaster. But he's also pulling along the Isle of Base car with him as well. He went a little bit wide on the last lap and lost some time to Anderson. Anderson is wanting to get sweet revenge from the time he made the mistake back in Mendig, which is actually where we go next time out, so hopefully his omens don't follow him there. We're watching, this is Gareth Lennon trying to put some pressure on Josh Martin's teammate of Ross McFarlane. What will he be able to do when we come to the end of this straight? He's got a whole lot of slipstream, but it looks like his exit was pretty mediocre, so I'm not expecting anything special, but Gareth Lennon's known for his dive bombs, and he thought about it, definitely thought about it, went to the inside, gets a strong run.
Yeah, I thought he was Yeah, I thought he was going to get a good run right there, but I guess he decided to just let out just a little bit out of respect, which is unusual from the Northern Irishman. As you said, he's known for his dive bombs, but I think his AI is actually a bit more... Oh, my, cut back to the camera. Oh, here comes under pressure from Magnus Vangelis in contact between the two. The Latvian driver not giving any room for the Northern Irishman, so this is very interesting stuff right here. We're loving these battles right now. We're just all over the place. Cameramen are actually having a bit of trouble, as you can tell.
Oh, Evan Imre.
Right now he's going to try... Oh, Evan Imre for the inside. I believe Gareth Lennon must have some damage or something to him, because he's just lost like 3 positions right there. And so that is interesting. He's going to defend that one from the FTG car. So, yeah, devastating stuff right now from Gareth Lennon. I'm not sure what happened. I guess he probably has some damage of some contact with Magnus Vangelis, I believe, because he just lost like 3 positions right there, Toby. I'm not sure what's happened to Gareth Lennon. He's about to lose more, it looks like.
Still battling away with Nutt Martinson, was battling away down the straight. Nutt Martinson's come out of nowhere, got an amazing run on both Gareth Lennon and now the GTFG car of Stephen Paul. Will he be able to throw it up the inside? He'll have to be late on the brakes to do so. Up the inside goes the reigning champion, really massacres the curb and has to back out of it as a result, loses the back end a little bit, loses the position to Paul. Will Gareth Lennon take the opportunity to follow him through? No, he will not. Gareth Lennon will have to sacrifice that, because see an NORL car chasing an ART car in the background. I think that's what our cameraman's trying to find. Yes, he is. Who is this? This is Valeria Campagnari and Kevin Jacobs, both competitors in the NORL series, so these guys know each other very well, race against each other quite often, so these guys should know each other inside out and should show each other a bit of respect, I'm sure. ART taking a gamble on Kevin Jacobs on good faith, from recommendation from this man Valeria Campagnari, Zach. So Valeria actually was a major force in getting Kevin this seat, so I'm sure he won't fight him too hard as a thank you present for getting him into the series, but I'm sure he'll be wanting to make a name for himself and show ART why he deserves to stay there for next year.
Yeah, especially after last week. I'm pretty sure Kevin Jacobs is going to be kind of kicking himself after. Remember last time out in Curitiba, he had the well, actually what we've been seeing kind of all day today is the on-track rejoining, and he actually cost Evan Imre a bit, pretty much his entire race. But honestly, I think he's probably learned from his mistakes and probably got a bit of a chewing out from Mr. Anderson, who continues to lead this race at the moment. And so he'll be definitely want to try to earn a lot more respect points. As we can see, Valeria getting the bit of a run. We talked about how these top speed of these cars, Toby, we have different manufacturers right now. So we can see the Audi working on the BMW right now. He's going to try the inside. He's going to hit the curb. I don't know if he can be able to get it to stick, and no, he does not. So it's kind of actually showing right now, if you take that second corner a bit too steep and hit the curbing, I think your suspension just bottoms out, and it just loses the speed. You just can't get the good run down the second straightaway. So a bit of a gamble from the Italian driver, but nothing to work right now as Kevin Jacobs continues to maintain his lead right there. As we can see right now, Joshua Wood defending right now against Zach Swader. Of course, Joshua coming off his wing last time out in Curitiba, defending an already controversial start from Mr. Swader. These two Americans know each other pretty well, don't really race each other that much, as you can probably tell. Swader would have the better experience and advantage over Wood right now. As we take a look back at the lead, I believe Josh Martin could be coming up under threat from Craig McLeod Evans at the moment. The two sister teams, pretty much, and you can tell, I believe Douglas Anderson is going to be wanting to extend the gap now, but I think that top speed of the Audi for Josh Martin is going to catch up that BMW very quick, if you can tell from Valeria doing on Kevin Jacobs.
Yeah, of course, he's got a little bit of advantage when it comes to top speed, but I mean, we can't really say that because we don't know, but that's what we estimated based on performances in Curitiba, but we also thought that the BMW has much better brakes than the Audi, so that's going to be a saving grace if that is the case. And I'm just mesmerised by how well the NLR group is doing, because the NLR group is affiliated with the Pro Race team, and it's Pro Race, NLR Pro Race. Considering, Zach, how poor of a season NLR and Isle of Base, who eventually turned into Pro Race, had last season, they've bounced back magnificently. And the fact you can see them all in the same camera shot is a massive shout out to the team, as a massive opportunity to get the team exposure, and especially when they're running such big like Thrustmaster sponsors. The team is, the sponsors are going to be very happy with the team's performance, and you have to be happy for them, because they were effectively, NLR were effectively a team that were the established backmarkers of last season, and the way they've just bounced back and come out absolutely roaring and throwing everything at it is quite amazing. Although they're having to work to fight off the sister team. The sister team seems to be doing better than Pro Race UK in the early stages of the season. But Josh Martin, another thing to note is that hasn't had a podium since round 1 Poznan in the Siroccos of season 1, so he's got a lot to lose here.
Yeah, it's technically a full season, because we're already in round 3, so that's about a season and 2 rounds if you really get into the mass here for Josh Martin. And so I believe, a win or not, I believe he'll be happy to get back on the podium. And ironically enough, I believe Scotland will be cheering on as our top 3 at least. I'm not sure if anything's changed in the back for the
I believe our top
right now,
5, Zach, currently.
Wow, so that's it. And so Scotland right now, you know, Viva, I can't really say Viva la Resistance, but, you know, Viva la Scotland right now, because right now Scotland is very happy right now, whereby their drivers right now, is, at least from your current words right now, our top 5 are from the Scotland flag. So a bit of a country celebration, because ironically enough, I apologize if I'm putting a bit too many jabs, but at least your racing scene is much better than your football. But ironically enough, you got guys like, of course, Colin McRae, one of the fantastic rally drivers that ever lived, and will still, I think, remain into the hearts of all of our Scottish drivers today.
I think Douglas got
Colin
sideways
McRae.
again, Zach, just to quickly point out.
Yeah, just to quickly, yep, it looked like he did as well, so that's going to allow Josh Martin to gain a bit of a ground. So I believe Anderson needs to try to not cut the first corner just a bit too much, as we've been seeing, as he's doing it. I think he's just he might be under pressure at this point, not being familiar with the first place at the moment, because he's cutting the corner just a bit too deep. And as we can tell from our last few battles that we've had, especially with Valeria and Campagnari, if you cut these corners a bit too much inside, you're just going to lose all your speed, and that's just going to hurt you in the end right now. And I believe that this is probably going to slow down Josh Martin. So Craig Evans, if he can be able to just hold his own and see if these two can come into a battle at least, he's going to be in the, what we call in America, the catbird seat at this point, because he is going to be waiting for these two to make a mistake, and he's probably going to come and sneak away with another victory, maybe.
It's possible. It's certainly what he would want to do. He's got to show some respect, though, because one of the cars involved in the fight is his sister team, and effectively his team boss in the NLR group, you could say. So he's got to be careful not to take his sister team out, because that's never good. But Douglas Anderson doing all he can for ART and bringing them to the top after they rebranded, of course, from last season from YMR. Brand new paint job, brand new name, brand new lineup, and brand new sponsors, and he really wants to bring this team to the top. Josh Martin thought about it, nowhere to go with it though, and that's cost him a little bit. He's lost a little bit of time as a result. Will that allow Craig Evans to have a little go at his sister teammate? I'm sure we'll find out going into turn 2. He's going defensive, Josh Martin. He saw that coming. He covered the inside line a bit early, but I think Craig is thinking about it, but again, wants to show a bit of respect, follows his teammate so closely, and I reckon if these guys weren't linked to each other, then I reckon that would have been a throw up the inside for Craig Evans. But if you look behind, you can actually see it's the same situation. Look, it's a purple NLR car followed by a green Pro Race car. Craig again thinks about it, but he's getting a bit impatient with his sister teammate here, but he knows that there's a lot of risk in making that move, especially considering where Craig is in the championship. He's in terms of the top 3, he's the guy in the most comfortable position, so he has to take that into mind to take a healthy points gap with him to Mendig, because anything can happen out there, Zach, as we know from last season. We had a battle all the way till the end, but Douglas Anderson managed to ruin his race on the first corner, so anything can happen on the airfield circuit of Mendig, and maybe that's playing into the mind a little bit as Christopher Pettersson move up the inside of his teammate. Surely his teammate got it a bit wrong earlier on. It looks like he's trying to. He's going to have to go around the outside. This is great battling from the NORL teammates, the Italian team side by side, coming into the penultimate penultimate corner they will go. Will Christopher Pettersson go all the way around the outside? Yes, he will! Great move by Christopher Pettersson on his teammate. Will his teammate throw one back down the inside? He's thinking about it, but what a move by Christopher Pettersson. He gets the job done, and in doing that, he puts his teammate under pressure from Charles McBee. He's going to take the opportunity to split the two NORL cars, but wow, what an assertive move by Christopher Pettersson. I think that was showing a little bit of dominance and alpha in the team to say, hey mate, I'm the one who challenged for the championship last time out, let me through.
Yeah, what an amazing move by Christopher Pettersson, and like you said, that allowed Charles McBee to get ahead of Valeria Campagnari, and I bet you anything, Valeria will probably be smiling that his teammate is giving him a bit of a battle, but I believe he's going to be fuming that he just cost him another position, granted the one that Christopher took off of him, to Charles McBee, so... but I see nothing wrong. It was just some clean racing, a bit of a few bumps, but bumping is racing sometimes, like, even though this is German touring cars and they have a bit more respect than they do with the BTCC boys, you still are going to have that contact aspect. But yeah, very, very incredible move by Christopher Pettersson right now, and that just shows you, like you said, the dominance that I believe Christopher is wanting with NRL at the moment, because he was fighting for the championship last season, so bit of a pretty good, outstanding performance so far from Christopher Pettersson for NRL.
Yeah, NRL is a team that is struggling this season, much like the likes of GTFG as well. They're struggling despite their good end to the season, and they're struggling to really get up to speed this season. You see the strike JSR cars pulling each other along. Looking through the field, and we can see Craig Evans is still sticking with Josh Martin, but still hasn't had the bottle to make that move. He's worried about taking him out, but look how close to get on the apex. Oh, you don't want to be getting that high.
Two wheels!
You don't want to be getting that high. That is incredible stuff.
Two wheels on the side for Craig Evans. It's amazing how he didn't lose as much ground to Josh Martin as he did right there. As you take a look at our reigning champion, Nut Martinson. Bit of an average outing, I guess, today. I mean, he's behind, I believe this is Stephen Paul in front of him. And I believe this is about, I'd say, 7th or 8th, I think, in the field. I'm not exactly sure, but it's somewhere around there. So kind of a good performance recovery for Nut Martinson, as I believe he's made all of his ground for all the first and second lap shenanigans between the Autobox team and the Lucky Strike team, which it kind of helped him out there. So trying to maybe gain something on Stephen Paul at the moment, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time. It's coming down to the final lap. Looking at Reynes Manguez flipping through the field, he's behind one of the other Scottish cars, and we take a look. What's this going on? Okay, so we've got Danny Diaz, and I believe that's Colin McAllister, and I believe this is Valeria Campagnari. I believe that kind of lost so much ground. What's happened to Valeria Campagnari? He's lost a lot of ground after him being overtaken, Toby, by his teammate, as both Lucky Strike cars have passed him. I wonder what's happened to Valeria.
3 wide. Is Callum Spencer going to make that 3 wide going into turn 1? Yes, he is. And we get a little bit of a stutter there. And it looks like Callum J. Spencer went in too deep and loses both the positions. Big balls from Callum J. Spencer to get that move into turn 1. Attempted, wasn't able to do it. Saves Valeria for another day. But wow, a 3 wide battle going into turn 1, all triggered by, it looked like Colin McAllister making the move on Danny Diaz, which just choked the whole field up into that little battle. Great move by Colin McAllister, we should say, because he made a position on I believe, Valeria and Danny Diaz. So 2 moves in 1 for Colin. Great stuff for him, despite him being outside of the points, of course. But we're looking at this man, Zach, coming around the penultimate corner, who may be about to take his first ever AIC victory and his first major points in the AIC. With this victory, he will score 10 more points than he did the entire season last season. What a victory! What a way to win for Douglas Anderson. He would manage to hold off the pressure of a much more experienced driver behind him, and this battle is still going on. So this is Chester Jackson trying to get in on the action, coming towards the penultimate corner. Will he be able to do anything about Callum J. Spencer ahead of him? I'm not sure he will be able to as we come and filter around the final corner, but Douglas Anderson managed to hold off a much bigger car, a much bigger driver, a much more experienced team as a whole. So great stuff for Douglas Anderson to give ART their moment of glory, and that was his goal all along after the rebrand. So props to him, he's done very well, Zach.
Yeah, so we have Douglas Anderson getting his first career. So that's 2 weeks in a row, Toby, that we've actually had our first career winners. We had Josh back in Curitiba, and we had Douglas Anderson here in Austria. And of course, you mentioned it, Josh Martin back on the podium after a season, pretty much back on the podium, and so this is going to be good something. But as we can take a look, at least we know the top 5 are all going to be filled with the Scottish flag. So Toby, take us through the
Douglas Anderson takes his first ever win of the season ahead of compatriots Josh Martin, Craig Evans, Nickel Foggy and Ross McFarlane. Rhaenys Mongelis will come and split the Scots as 7th place is Scottish driver Evan Imre. 8th place sees Stephen Paul ahead of the champion Nut Martinson in 9th place, who climbed all the way up, Zach, I believe from like 16th, so pretty good day in the office for Nut Martinson. Toby Byrne, another driver climbing up into the top 10. Charles McVie will go 13th, taking that position from Christoph Pedersen after his 5-second time penalty is applied. Jonathan Carrera makes a move up from 22nd to 15th, followed by McAllister, Diaz, Campagnari, Wood, Spencer, Swader with his 15 seconds of penalties, and Chester Jackson rounding off the field.
Yeah, I still don't agree with the 5-second penalty to Pedersen, but like we said, I guess the steward saw something that we didn't, but props to him anyway for staying where he was with that 5-second penalty. But yeah, the big story is, of course, Swader with the 15 seconds, just a bit over ambitious, and I believe if it was my call, he would have been disqualified. But right now, the standings, his 3rd place finish, Toby, will put Craig Evans but 3 points ahead of Jonathan Crow, who loses out, as well as Joshua Wood loses out. Nickel Foggy finishes up, and he's going to end up 4th. But the big mover right now is Douglas Anderson gains 12 places with his win today. So a big run for Mr. Anderson right there. Mongelis comes out 6th, Chester Jackson loses 3 positions, and Josh Martin, another big mover, gains 9 positions to put him in 8th. Ross McFarlane in 9th, and big loss right now for Tom Spencer with this terrible day today is rounding out our top 10 in the points. Toby, why don't you go ahead and take us through the rest of this?
Nut Martinson, the champion, sitting on a lonely 12 points, ahead of Jacobs, Imre, Swader, Byrne, Paul and McBee was the last one we saw in there, but I'm sure you'd already read that. We have NLR take the lead of the constructors' standings after their 3rd and 4th today. They take the lead back from Lucky Strike JSR, who scored no points whatsoever, and Autobacks will finish P3. Pro Race UK 4th, ART 5th, ISR, EQU and Force Fizzy all losing places, and GTFG and NORL not moving.
Yeah, definitely, and something that you probably would have to look at right now, as we can see Pro Race UK, of course, gaining those 4 positions. Still a bit of ground to cover. They want to get into the top 3 in the constructors, but at the moment, I believe if anything still happens, well, a week like today, I believe they're going to be a threat if they can just keep what they're doing right now, and especially for ART if Douglas continues to his stride. So, but yeah, I believe big day for Scotland right now as I get a little bit tongue twisted. Like we said, we're a bit rusty, but yeah, big day for Scotland in the top 5. But the big man himself, Douglas Anderson, finally gets his well-deserved win and a good result for the rest of the team.
As we mentioned, that's 10 points more than he scored the entire of last season. So he's got his season off to a flying start with a victory here, and I'm sure ART will be very happy with that one. Kevin Jacobs will, I'm sure, be asking for some tips on how he did it going into Mendig, as Douglas Anderson found out last time that Mendig is probably the harshest circuit to a rookie, because he made such that critical error, and I'm sure he'll be teaching Kevin Jacobs to not do that. But speaking of Mendig next time out, Zach, who would you think would be one to look out for? Because of course Gareth Lennon won there last time out, but he doesn't seem to be in a competitive car this time around.
Yeah, it's a shame really, because he was one of the top guys to actually look for. But I believe, like you said, the last time that we seen Josh Martin on the podium before today was at Mendig as well. So I believe he might be a force to be reckoned with out there himself, as well as Craig McLeod Evans. If they can continue their performance like they did today, I believe they're going to be the ones to watch for. But I wouldn't count out anything else between Josh Martin and even Rhaenys Mongelis. He was one of the top podium guys last time out in Mendig as well.
So next time out, guys, we will see you at Mendig, the airfield circuit in Germany. I've been Toby Byrne, that's been Zach Swader. We've had a pleasure commentating for you today, and I hope you enjoyed the race. It's a Scottish 1-5 and a 7th place finish for Evan Imre sees them in the top 7. So 6 out of the top 7 drivers were Scottish today, so it was a great day for that little island, and I'm sure they'll be partying long into the night. But until next time, it'll be a whole different ball game once we go to Mendig, as we well know. Thank you so much for watching, and until then, goodbye.